Alright, greetings Canadians, and welcome to the version 266 event breakdown video. And before we get into the video, once again, please always remember that if any and all information may or may not be accurate due to any changes that Nexon has or has not done pre or post release of the actual patch into the actual live release of the actual patch notes or the actual game. For example, if we go all the way back up, right here, yeah, as of me writing down the blueprints to my script, they already updated it. It's just about the plasma heart. You don't have to worry about that one. But before we even go any further on that one, please always remember any corrections that I will be making, either I will be putting in either the description or the comments, or please always remember that you can always also check the official patch notes themselves on the official website for anything that they actually have noted for that. And furthermore, if you hear nasally or me coughing, sneezing, I do apologize. I got sick somehow by not leaving my apartment. I don't know how that works, but regardless of the fact, if you guys hear the audio gets distorted because I'm looking to the right, is because I have a second monitor with my notes for anything that's critical for any of the event stuff. So, that being said, the first part of the patch that is new, I will not be covering the old stuff. The new part of the version 266 patch is Princess Sakuno's support. This one's going to be directly tying into the Sengoku classes, being the Kanna and the Hayato classes. You can do them both respectively on new or old characters that you have created. But do take note that there's two separate event reward paths. So you got Kanna and Hayato can get either of these two rewards at the very top. These are for the new ones, and the ones underneath are for the old ones. But the only difference is the fact that this one, compared to other events, you have to kill things on a Sengoku character in order to get these specific rewards. And, thankfully, this actually lasts a decently long time, so you can take your time doing the 40,000 kills if you don't main one. And there's actually some decent rewards. But pretty much the ones on top are going to be your basic step-up missions. As you can see here, there's going to be 8 critical missions. And if you're looking at the rewards and you're going, oh, but I don't want to make another Kanna or Hayato, because if I was to make another one, I would either have 3 Kannas or 2 Hayatos. Judge me, I don't care. But before you get too uppity about that one, if it actually doesn't really care, take note that the rewards aren't super phenomenal to actually encourage you to make a brand new one. Not to mention, they're all untradeable. All of these are untradeable. And emblems, you can just buy a new one, so that's inconsequential. Event rings, those you can actually get plentiful throughout other events, so that's unimportant or not very necessary. But if you don't have a Kanna or a Hayato yet, I would actually encourage you to explore this as an option. Once again, you get some fragments. 200 fragments is always nice, but let's be honest, with how many times they hand out fragments now, 200 is not phenomenal. But if you need to make a brand new character as a boss mule, might be a good reason to do so. And not to mention, for the Transcendent Growth Pot at the very end, it's also untradeable, so you couldn't even give it to your another character if you wanted to. But as for all of the current ones, as well as the old one, this one can be done as a combination of new or old, so it'll double dip if it's a brand new one. I, for one, will be trying to get some of these rewards, because you get a free little Sakuno pet that actually looks... I would definitely punt that thing across the yard. Where'd that come from? I don't know. And you get... And something I'm really loving, they're actually exploring more things with the home content. These are furniture items. I like those. A unit damage skin, which might just be me, but I cannot read that. Probably because of the glasses. Free label rings, gotta love that. More furnishings, wow, that's a word. The Shikigami mount. I feel like that should be more classified as a chair, but okay. More furnishings, special effects, more armor, more face and hair coupons to go with the outfit boxes. And some really nice other stuff as well. And not to mention, the backgrounds look kinda nice as well. And of course, we got a lithium heart. No one wants that. But yeah, that's pretty much it with the actual revamp specific missions. But let's go to the new Leaf Mall ones. Once again, I'll be looking left and right every so often to double check my notes. The first of which is the new Leaf Mall events. This one you can pretty much just ignore for anything critical. It just gives you like a very small synopsis of what actually is going to be there, and etc. and whatnot. Like, just entails what it is. But the first part is going to be the Mart management log. This one's going to be your basic initial event critical UI quest related stuff. Just to go over the actual UI, pretty much the same thing as usual. 5 days per week you can actually check in. And from what I can tell, either I can't read that well because I'm sick right now, But it looks like it's just a click the daily buttons and you're good. The NLM pass button is just to actually make up any lost days, which costs the standard 3k maple points right here. And you get 3x coupons, you get the specific event coins and whatnot. And if you look at the bottom right corner of the actual UI, the management task rewards, those are the cumulative total times you've done the dailies. So as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 by 5, or 25 total for this one. And before anyone says it, this bottom right corner, that is, I believe, the bonus potential cube. That one's only going to be specific for regular servers, so anyone who watches this plays Reboot, you can ignore that, because I believe we get... Yeah, we just get Karma Solid cubes instead. But yeah, pretty much nothing too critical, nothing too substantial. It does give you food and drink coupons, which are going to be specifically used towards your actual event skills. We'll cover that once we get to that point. And directly after this is going to be the NLM Coin Shop. Nothing too substantial, nothing too critical that I needed to cover. So I'll just put the information tab under the bottom left corner and then move on from there. Nothing too important. Alright. And a New Leaf Mall food court. This one is going to be the event skills that cost food menu and drink menu points. And it might just me being really a fat person, but I actually kind of like the way the food looks. Yeah, but pretty much overall, exact same as the previous events, same amount of items, same amount of specific stats that you can gain. And, yep, pretty much the same for those. I'll update my event skill calculator for everyone, but I think I only have to adjust the points. I'm gonna no longer actually input the actual setup on what you're supposed to be following. I'm just gonna leave it as a blank calculator if anyone ever needs it to make a copy so they can use it. But bottom line is, if you want the event skills for your mules to do EXP, this is the order that you should go in. Monster Park, Arcane River Dailies, and then Grandis. Switch Grandis with Arcane only if you actually want to do the Grandis on your mules that are 260 and above, rather than make brand new ones. It'll be entirely up to you. I'll just leave it as a blank calculator, and I'll just leave a note on the calculator as well. If it's not in the comments, not in the description by the time this video is uploaded, because I'm trying to work on some stuff, which I have some ideas, but I'm not that good with Excel, so things might be delayed. Other than that, nothing too extreme, but yeah. Alright, next part is Cindy's Special Helper. This one I have a couple of notes. Alright, skimming down, this is going to be your event training skill. This one is going to be 30 times per day per character, and you'll actually notice that there's actually a cumulative activation component to this event. Please note that this one does not factor in this first part. Even if you do 30 activations per character across like 15 characters on day one, you won't be able to get it to the 150 activation count reward, simply because it's 30 times per day per account is what is logged for the cumulative reward. So you're gonna have to take that a little bit slow. That's gonna take 5 days, 15 days, and so on and so forth. And other than that, that's nothing too critical about this one. Onwards to the next part is going to be the Victoria Adventure. Not many people are going to recognize this one, but this is going to be a solo or party. I don't know, solo party. Quick start or party play specific mini game. Some people might recognize this one. It might seem familiar. This one's going to require you to level up specific characters in a mini game. 4 people will be able to play in a set party, and you just have to choose one class. You can't have the doubles of the same things. But the only difference is this one actually has different maps. And at the end, there's going to be a boss at the very end for you to receive EXP. I want to say we could probably reuse the old events videos for this one. I don't know what it's called. If I can't find it, I can't find it. It's probably really old from back then. But another piece of information I'd like to cover is the fact that this is actually a pretty good EXP scaled up to 290 supposedly. I'm going to try and see if Wacky Bean's website actually has the calculator for this, or at least the spreadsheet for it. But it might not be that bad to do this on a high level mule. But you can also only get this EXP once per account, up to 3 times per week. And if we scroll all the way down, this one resets on the Wednesday to Thursday reset. I don't know why Nexon, but yeah. But this one also has a cumulative reward. Once you've claimed the EXP a total of 12 times, so across 4 weeks, during the event's duration, which I think we get 5 or 6 weeks for the actual event. You gotta check the calendar for that one. You get a actually not too bad, decent set of NX items. And as for the medal rewards that you can see down here, this requires you to get to level 20 on each of the characters, and if you actually do get them on all 4 of the classes, respectively, you can actually get another medal. Not gonna lie, the free medals actually look pretty sick. Too bad it's only once per account. No, yeah, it's once per account. Would have been nice to get a couple of these on a couple of characters, but onwards to the next part. The next part is Mall Duo. Mall Duo specifically is pretty much the same as EXP Share as the previous events that we had. I think they're called Legion Champions or Legion... I forgot what it's called. But regardless, some restrictions on this are going to be the following. It is once per world per account, and anything that you accumulate on this one is going to reset from Tuesday to Wednesday, which is weird because we go Wednesday to Thursday, then Tuesday to Wednesday. Next on, please make up your mind for each event, please, because this is stupid. But what I mean by once per world per account isn't specifically if you're in Bara or Kronos and Kronos. Next I made it really weirdly worded. You can actually link it so long as it's the respective challenger world is the same type. For example, my main is in Kronos. If I wanted to actually link my mule in Challenger World as the duo, I can, so long as they're both heroic or both interactive. So that is the one world per account restriction that is there, which is... It makes sense, but it's stupidly worded. But another restriction that you need to take note is the fact that this specific part of the event, you can only do this once per account. Once you've set them, you can't change them. Although, it does say roles can only... roles can only be changed when all the following conditions are met. All obtained managing points have been used, and as well as the fact that all unclaimed break room EXP has been claimed. I'm going to assume that just means you could change the manager and crew roles, and not assign like a 3rd or 4th new character to take their place. The wording's a little weird. But... From there, the managing points. This one's also a little weird when it says it. When the manager defeats mobs near your level, it earns 1 managing point for every mob killed, and you can only get 200 points obtained per week. I have a very strong feeling that this is going to get corrected either tonight or tomorrow, because 200 mobs per week sounds really incorrect. But regardless, yeah. And also from this, both the manager and the crew that you assign can both claim the EXP. But take note that if the manager is the one that claims it, ideally the high-level character is being assigned as the manager, the one you're training on, will receive only 70% of the EXP as well as 70% of the soul or the energy converted. So ideally you don't claim it on the character that's the manager, and you simply give it to the crew. The next part of the actual mall duel is the mall break room. It is essentially just a EXP AFK room that you can actually assign... Oops, sorry. That you can assign specifically new skills to amplify the EXP. And you can only do 2 hours per week, but you can also change it with the actual skills that you can level up, that you can get from the following: break room points and rest stats. Break room points can actually be leveled up with break room points, obviously, but you have to get 1 point for every 2,500 kills near your level, and up to 20 points can be obtained per week. The points are shared between manager and crew, obviously, because they're going to share the same stats and skills. And I'm going to wait for somebody on Reddit to actually do the math and solve how this is going to work, because I don't even think I'm going to try and quantify how this EXP is going to work or which one's going to be the most efficient. So, don't expect me to have a calculator. Don't expect me to have one for you guys, sorry. But also, if you go down here, there's going to be an additional boost effect that you can get if you achieve these specific activation requirements. It gets a little convoluted, and I'm just going to let someone else take care of this. I can't do that. But yeah, after that is going to be the New Leaf Mall Guardians. This is going to be your weekly event boss kills. Oh, your event's weekly boss kills point conversion. Same as the other one that we had previously in version 265 and version 264. Only that you're going to want to take note that you actually get 3 different type of coins: basic, intermediate, and advanced. And also take note, to those who solo Extreme Lotus, take note that the maximum amount of coins that you get for that kill has been reduced down to 30. The only way to get 50 coins now is to do either hard adversary solo or normal Kaling. Those being the easiest ones. Yeah, they changed it. I understand why they changed it, mostly because the scaling of the actual, like, power scale of the, every server right now is actually going higher and higher, so it makes sense for them to change it, but this is going to be annoying for some people. It's going to be annoying for me because I'm going to have to kill hard Kaling and then normal Kaling right after the party sequence in practice mode. And yes, you can do the kills in practice mode. Ideally, you do it in practice mode. So yeah, that's going to be what changed. And the follow-up is going to be the NLM Token Shop, where you can spend your respective coins. There's going to be 3 different stores that uses the basic, intermediate, and advanced. And in the advanced one is actually where you can afford to buy the new Plasma Heart Upgrade module. There's only going to be one per world. But I'll explain the next part. You can actually technically get 4 in this event. That or I'm stupid and I read it wrong. But at the minimum, you can get 1 per event. You need to use the module on a fairy heart to upgrade. And if you actually look at the things, it'll say any remaining plus restorable scroll enhancements will be transferred over, stats obtained or lost via enhancement will be transferred, star enforcement level will be transferred, the potentials will also be transferred. So, that'll be nice. The only difference is the fact that the Plasma Heart has, I think, 15% IED as a base stat, as well as the fact that it can be star forced 20 times, up to 20 stars. So there's going to be that. After the fact is going to be the NLM Stamp Shop. This one requires you to kill 1,000 mobs near your level to obtain 50 stamps, and you can obtain up to 1,500 stamps for each week. So, you're going to be doing a lot of killing this event. Have fun with that. But there's actually some decent looking free stuff, not going to lie. Yeah, there's a Legion version of this chair and a 5-player version of this chair. That's actually kind of nice. And, oh, and something a lot of people were hyping about this while I was writing the script. The Keyboard Warrior damage skin finally got the unit version. I think it, took like 10 years for this to happen? Not gonna lie though, I actually kind of hate it. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that one, but I hate this one simply because, why didn't you just make them one uniform color scheme? Or at least change the color of the unit numbers. They stand out too much. It distracts from the actual numbers. Yeah, once again, that's just me whining, so ignore me on that one. And we also get some really nice looking background coupons. These actually look nice. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to still stick with the Twilight Eve one because I love the animated backgrounds. Those look nice. And if anyone cares about the home content, I highly recommend you save for this. You get a little robot furniture item. I'm going to try and get that one. And unfortunately, this one is going to cost 500. A little pricey, but I want it. And then from there, we have the NLM Meso Shop. And this is where you can actually get 3 more Plasma Hearts. This one is just a heart outright. You don't have to actually upgrade it. So unfortunately, if you don't wait for another event to get the module to upgrade your Fairy Heart, you have to start from scratch. Thankfully, hearts are easy to potential because they're one of the few items compared to badge, and I forgot what the other item was, that has the least amount of junk lines, so it's easy to get 3 line back, so that's not that big of an issue. Although regular server is going to have a little bit of an annoyance when they're scrolling this, so have fun on that one. But yeah, I'm going to spread this across 3 different characters. Thankfully, it's only 3 bill. It's not too bad. I'm going to stop at 18 star on all my mules just because if you blow it up, I want to say you can't use the star specs. We're going to have to wait for someone to blow this up and test it. I might try that, actually, just for fun. Who knows. But yeah, from there is pretty much a standard Meso Shop. Other than that, that's actually pretty much it. There's actually not too much to this event that's brand new. So yeah. Once again, if there's any questions about this event breakdown, if I was speaking too fast or I'm too nasally because I'm actually really sick right now, please let me know down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer it. Other than that, thanks for watching the continued support. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!